Alright guys, welcome to the Pumpkinhead Q&A. As always, if the mic sounds a little weird, that's because the fan is on, because it gets hot during these Q&As. Also, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means YouTube either marked it as spam, or it didn't even show up at all on the list, so I do apologize in advance for that. Anyway, so yeah, let's get started with this Q&A, starting with Malingar, who asks, sorry I haven't seen it yet, so this is all I can think of. Skeletor meets Pumpkinhead. What does he say? Holy shit! Curse you, He-Man! I can do better than that, but I don't know. I gotta be in the Skeletor mood, you know. I can't just unleash the Skeletor. Anyway, that question, Malingar, moving on now to Matt Bennett, who asks, do you think summoning Pumpkinhead to destroy your most hated enemies is really worth it? Yeah, it's not worth it. No, because if you've seen the movies, then your soul gets damned to hell, and you're in horrible pain as Pumpkinhead's slowly killing them. So, no. Second question, why is he called Pumpkinhead? Well, there's two reasons. One, in the original movie, it's said that he was buried in a place where most people would bury their children who are deformed, and his appearance looks very pumpkin-like, and he was buried in a pumpkin patch. He was basically buried in, like, a weird pumpkin patch, and, yeah, there's kind of, like, two different things to it, so, yeah, that's why he's gotten the name Pumpkinhead. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Matt Bennett. Moving on to Nicholas Harley, who asks, what is Pumpkinhead about? Pumpkinhead is based around a demon who is summoned by a witch who goes out and hunts down people who have wronged a person. However, when you've basically sold your soul, and you feel the pain of the person dying at Pumpkinhead's hands. There's been 4 films in total. Abridged Krillin and Steven Universe meet Pumpkinhead. What happens next? They all freak out and run. Abridged Popo meets Pumpkinhead. What happens next? Pumpkinhead runs. So thank you for those questions, Nicholas. Moving on to Cash Smith, who asks, Pumpkinhead is sent after Pinhead. What happens when the two high-ranking demons clash, and how would this mess up the Devil's plans? I don't know how that would go down, but Pumpkinhead is, I wouldn't say like he's a top-ranking demon. He's more like an attack dog when it comes down. He's just more like just this engine of destruction, more or less, while Pinhead is a thinking creature, but Pumpkinhead's really powerful. But I don't know, I think Pinhead would come out on top in a close matchup. I mean, as much as I love Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead can take a lot of damage, but if you hurt or kill Pumpkinhead's host, or the person he's connected with, then that's his weakness, more or less. Pinhead has a few, but they're few and far between. Second, Hellboy is sent to hunt Pumpkinhead down for good. Would you watch that as an animated film? Hell yeah, Pumpkinhead versus Hellboy? Absolutely. What if you send him after himself? What if I don't know, that's a paradox. I don't know how that would go, exactly. Alright, moving on now to Janet Varney. Thank you for those questions, Cash Smith. Moving on to Andrew Varney. Why did I say Janet? Andrew Varney. Pumpkinhead is summoned by Flowey to wreck the underground. Could Sans take on the Spirit of Vengeance in one-on-one fight, or will the Pun Master have a bad time? Sans is pretty powerful, especially if we're talking like Genocide Sans, then, oh boy. But Pumpkinhead could just keep regenerating, so unless he kills Flowey, then, yeah, this fight could go on a while. Second question, Pumpkin gets summoned by Zim. How long until utter chaos and destruction set in, and could Zim defeat the demon? Yeah, no, Zim's not going to be able to do that. Pumpkinhead versus the Crystal Gems, Lapis included, who wins? Might give it to the Gems, because Pumpkinhead's a little outnumbered. Alright. Thank you for those questions, Andrew Varney. Moving now to Billy McCary, who asks, if his name is Pumpkinhead, why doesn't he have a pumpkin for a head? It's just a name he was given. Alright. Evil Dead Pumpkinhead crossover. What happens? That's actually kind of cool. Like, I'd like to see that. I think what would happen is that Ash is kind of trying to help these people who have accidentally wronged someone who's unleashed Pumpkinhead, and he just gets caught in the middle. Alright, if you made a group of 5 superheroes from comic books, movies, and TV and film to battle Pumpkinhead, who would they be? I guess Ash. A lot of the horror heroes like Dutch and from Predator, and I don't know, horror-based heroes, more or less. Thank you for those questions, Billy. Moving on now to Linerman0245, who asks, Pumpkinhead fights a Ranger team. How badly screwed are they? Pretty screwed, but when they unleash the Megazords, then Pumpkinhead's gonna be like, shit. Second question, if you had to write a new Pumpkinhead movie, not necessarily a sequel, what would the plot be, the characters, and even the eventual climax? I don't know about the whole film, but I've actually thought about this, because the interesting thing about Pumpkinhead is that it's a very strange thing, because the second movie, much like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, Bloodwings actually focuses on the son of Pumpkinhead. So, I don't know how that happened, because they say, his father was Pumpkinhead, his mother was somebody, and this new in Pumpkinhead Bloodwings, which is the second film, it's really weird. So maybe focus on, was it a Force thing? I don't know if I would focus on how this second Pumpkinhead was conceived, but, I don't know. I really, I guess I would like to do a film where, maybe have it that a gang has murdered, and maybe set it during, rural 1920s era. And yeah, these gang of mobsters have killed this man's family, and now he wants revenge on the gangsters, and he goes to the witch to get help, get Pumpkinhead to do it. So have it as a pulp story or something like that, I don't know. Alright, third... Yeah, but the point I was trying to make before I rambled about Bloodwings is that all of the films, when you really think about it, outside, the only ones that have any real connection between them is Pumpkinhead 1 and 3. 2 and 4, Blood Feud and Bloodwings really just feel like their own standalone films. The only ones that feel the only one that feels like a real sequel is Ashes to Ashes, when you really think about it. Anyway, whose Rogues Gallery could Pumpkinhead fit in perfectly? Probably Ghost Rider. I know that's a typical answer, but it works. And yeah, I just answered that with the question Action Fan asks is, would Pumpkinhead make a good Ghost Rider villain? And yeah, I kind of answered that. Alright, thank you for those questions, both Linerman and Action Fan 19, and moving on now to Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, what 5 opponents would you have Pumpkinhead fight in a death battle? Creature from the Black Lagoon, Ghost Rider, Predator, Spawn, and I don't know for the last one. Maybe Tyrek from MLP. Alright, Pumpkinhead versus Sadako and Kayoko. Who wins that fight? I don't know, I think I might give it to Pumpkinhead. I might actually, honestly, give it to Pumpkinhead in that matchup. Third question, would Star Butterfly stand a chance against Pumpkinhead? Even with the magic, Pumpkinhead's a really hard creature to take down, so I don't know. Alright. Moving on now to Gruglug, so thank you for those questions, Matt Kaiser 08. Moving on now to Gruglug 98, who asks, do you think that Pumpkinhead could beat Jason Voorhees? That's actually kind of funny, because I remember seeing on YouTube this fan-made trailer of Pumpkinhead versus Jason versus Pumpkinhead. And I don't know, because they're both pretty unkillable, but like I said, when Pumpkinhead is on Earth, he's connected to the person who summoned him. So if Jason kills that person, then Pumpkinhead's dead. So that's a tough one. Second question is would you put Pumpkinhead in terms of power of supernatural beings? I would say, power-wise, he's been shown to be pretty strong, so maybe something like, I don't know, like you said, Wendigo or Werewolf, something like he could lift about a ton or two, power, strength-wise. So think of those questions, Gruglug. Moving on now to Six-Pack Beerus, who asks, why do you think in the movie the villagers just don't kill the witch that summons Pumpkinhead? Maybe because she's a witch. And you don't go out, if I live somewhere near someone who could summon a demon of vengeance who could kill me, or, cast a spell to turn me into God knows what, I leave that person alone. So, yeah, they don't want to mess with that person. Anyway, second question. If the Predator came down to Earth at the same time Pumpkinhead was summoned, do you think the Predator could kill Pumpkinhead, or at least do some damage to it? Maybe some damage, but I can't see it killing it unless he kills the person controlling him, like I've said. Third question. If you could write a fanfiction of Pumpkinhead versus Ghost Rider, how would you write it, and what would Pumpkinhead meet as match? Probably, I don't know how I would write the story of the two meeting, so that'd be a tough one. So thank you for those questions, Six-Pack Beerus. Moving on now to Matthew Blaisdell. Hope I'm saying that last name right. I do apologize if I haven't. Who would win, Pumpkinhead versus Alien? Well, I guess it's just a Xenomorph warrior, and unless the Xenomorph can like I've said before, the host is the main weakness for Pumpkinhead, so I might give it to Pumpkinhead in that matchup. How would these characters react to Pumpkinhead? Sam and Dean Winchester, Ash, and the Trailer Park Boys. Well, Bubbles and the rest of them would be like, Bubbles and Julian would be like, Bubbles, Julian, and Ricky would be like, nah, fuck that. I'm off the weed for like a day, man. Oh, that's not decent. I can't do the voices. Ash, Dean, and Sam would just be like, oh, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. Alright. Yeah, I think that's all the questions. Thank you for those questions, Matthew. Moving on now to Cody Bradish, who asks, Pumpkinhead is sent to kill two kids who are on the menu of the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. How will this end? With a lot of blood and a lot of gore. Pumpkinhead versus the Creeper. That would actually be kind of cool. Second question. Are you aware of the reboot of the Pumpkinhead series is in development? If so, what are your feelings? I heard about this, actually, now that I think about it. I heard about it a little while ago. I didn't think it was still a thing. But yeah, I would like to see a Pumpkinhead series, because I think you could honestly make it a cool anthology and really make it work. I think you could honestly make it a kick-ass, like a real kick-ass kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, an anthology series. I think you could do that. I think you can really do like a fun, cool anthology type series. So, yeah, that was the second question. Do you think that there is potential to be done with Pumpkinhead, and if so, is there any sort of ideas at all? I don't think Pumpkinhead's fine on his own. I think he's pretty good on his own. Like I said, I think you can just do a cool anthology series, and that would be fine. But anyway, thank you for those questions, Cody. Moving on now to Burnout7, who asks, what would be the story in a Pumpkinhead Batman crossover? Oh, okay. Pumpkinhead. Okay, maybe have it that someone has, I guess, like a man who has moved from the Ozarks to Gotham to find a job. His wife gets killed by Joker or another Batman villain. Then he hears all the legends about Pumpkinhead. He goes back to the Old Witch and asks, Pumpkinhead to go to Gotham to fight Batman or something like. And not Batman. Kill the Joker, whatever Batman villain killed his wife, and now Batman's caught in the middle of it. Anyway, second question: if Pumpkinhead got Xray fatality, what would Pumpkinhead Xray fatality and ending be if he was in Mortal Kombat? I don't know about Xray, but his fatality, a few of his fatalities would be like, he takes his claws, rakes them down your chest, and it just like exposes all your organs and in your rib cage. You're like, oh, you're looking down at it. Then he just takes his claws, grabs at like a whole thing of your intestines, and just rips them out in front of you. The second fatality would be, he like grabs you by the shoulders, then reaches down and just takes a big bite out of the top of your skull and just starts eating everything. It just leaves an empty hole in your head, and then he just smashes the remnants of your head between his hands, and your body just falls to the ground dead. But the ending and story would be that maybe Pumpkinhead was pulled from his Earth to the Nether Realm by like maybe Quan Chi, because he thought maybe Pumpkinhead's power could defeat Shinnok. And when Pumpkinhead did, because he like have it that Shang Tsung or have it like better yet, Shang Tsung summoned Pumpkinhead to do his bidding and be an assassin to kill Shinnok. But it turns out, Pumpkinhead didn't exactly do that. And yeah, he killed Shinnok. And when he did kill Shinnok, Pumpkinhead suddenly realized, shit, I can do whatever I want. And then he turned on Shang Tsung with the power of Shinnok, and went on to hound all of the realms for vengeance, or something like that. I don't know. Third question: how would a fight between Spider-Man and Pumpkinhead go? Not well for poor Spidey. I could say that much. Not well for poor Spidey. All right. Thank you for those questions, Burnout. Moving on now to Mike Root, who asks, Which game would you pick for Pumpkinhead to be a guest character in? Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct? Mortal Kombat. They're good at horror characters, so yeah. Moveset, I don't know, like, he would be a power fighter. Like, he would just be, like, a tank-type character, I guess. Second question, would Samurai Jack, Star Butterfly, Pen-Zero, and Sashi, Steven Universe, and Rick and Morty stand a chance against Pumpkinhead? Probably if you put that many heroes together to fight him. Alright. Anyway, thank you for those two questions, Mike Root. Moving on now to Michael Johnson Jr., who asks, who would win a fight between I already answered this one, sorry. If Pumpkinhead was out to get you on Halloween, what would you do? Probably end myself. I'd probably just end it right there, rather than let Pumpkinhead get me, because he'll do a hell of a lot worse. Alright. What would Ash from Evil Dead reaction be to a kaiju-sized Pumpkinhead? Like how Alistair Boneman answered for me. Oh, fuck me. That's how it would go. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Michael Johnson Jr. Moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, what would happen if Ludo accidentally summoned Pumpkinhead to kill Star and Marco? What happens next? That's going to be a bloodbath. Just a total bloodbath. Next question is, who will win in a fight, Pumpkinhead or Solomon Grundy from DC Comics? Grundy versus Pumpkinhead, okay. I would have to say, for that kind of matchup, my guess would be Grundy, but then again, it would just be now that I think about it, it'd probably be like a battle that would last for eternity, really. So I don't know. Alright, third question. Let's say Linus from the Peanuts tries to summon the Great Pumpkin on Halloween to prove everyone is real, only to summon Pumpkinhead. How fucked do the Peanuts gang get now? Probably that episode of Robot... Think of it like a more horrible version, a more terrifying version, I should say, of when the kite-eating tree in that Robot Chicken segment went around eating people. It wasn't the kite-eating tree, it was the Great Pumpkin, which was a demon. Yeah, just think that, but with Pumpkinhead instead. Think of those questions, Andre. Moving on now to Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, Pumpkinhead Until Dawn crossover, how would that go down? Well, depending on how you play Until Dawn, you only have a handful of survivors. So maybe have it that it's a new group of people, it's like Until Dawn 2, and have it in the Ozarks, and one of the opponents you have to survive is Pumpkinhead, or something like that. Second question, how would a Pumpkinhead game be like? I'd probably say it'd probably go the way of like the Friday the 13th game, where it's like a multiplayer, one person is Pumpkinhead and everyone else is the people trying to escape Pumpkinhead. Third question, where do you think Pumpkinhead ranks in Hell's hierarchy? I wouldn't say high because he is intelligent, but he's not. He's more of a tank type. So maybe he's probably a big number, but not like someone like Pinhead. He's probably in like somewhere like rank lieutenant at bat, like a lieutenant if we're going by ranks. Alright. So, thank you for those questions, Wolfman the Impaler. Moving on now to Alistair Boneman, who asks, Pumpkinhead versus the following: Freddy, Jason, Pinhead, Leatherface, Michael, Jeepers Creepers, Chucky. He'd probably take out Chucky. Creeper would be forever. Michael, maybe. Leatherface, probably. Pinhead, yeah, I might give it to Pinhead. Jason's a tough one, and depending on where Freddy is in the dream world or not, it could go either way. Second question, if you were able to, would you reboot Pumpkinhead series, and if so, how would you do it? I think the Pumpkinhead films are good on their own, and as much as the weakest one for me is probably Blood Feud, I still have a like for it, I still like it. Anyway, third question, in your opinion, how would you rank Pumpkinhead to the other slasher-era villains? The problem is Pumpkinhead's so little known. He's like a cult character that I don't know. I'd rank him in the top 10s. At least for me personally, that's how I would rank him. He would be somewhere in the top 10s. So thank you for those questions, Alistair Bowman. Moving on now to Ronimus Prime 77, who asks, who would win a fight between the Summerwing Trickster and Gravity Falls versus the Pumpkinhead? I'd give it to Pumpkinhead because Trickster's made only of candy. Third question, how would you write a Gravity Falls Pumpkinhead crossover? Maybe have it that Robbie and the rest of his friends accidentally kill someone, and the old witch is brought to summon Pumpkinhead or something like that, I don't know. Third question, how would you write a Over the Garden Wall and Pumpkinhead crossover? I don't know, like maybe in an alternate setting, the woodsman summons Pumpkinhead to kill the beast or something like that. I don't know. So thank you for those questions, Ronimus. Moving on now to Shockwave Spider, who asks, I already answered what's the backstory for Pumpkinhead. Second question, Lord Hater or Commander Peeper summons Pumpkinhead to destroy Wander and Sylvia, so Hater can get over his long dispossession. Pumpkinhead would probably be friends with Wander, because no one can resist Wander. Third question, Pumpkinhead lands in Halloween and meets Jack Skellington, what happens? He'd probably be treated as like a member of the family, like, oh look, we found him, we found another wayward monster, come along, friend. And Pumpkinhead would be like, what the fuck is going on? Thank you for this question, Shockwave Spider. Moving on now to Cinder222, who asks, if Pumpkinhead was made by Universal Studios in the 30s and 40s, what would be the story be like, and who would have played him? It'd probably remain the same, but the Pumpkinhead would not look like a full-body monster. He'd probably look like an actual, like, a guy with a Pumpkinhead mask or like a very deformed face. It probably wouldn't be a demon. It'd probably be more like a slasher. And who to play him? I would say Lon Chaney Jr., because he could really take all of that makeup and still give, like, amazing performance. Not to discredit Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, but I feel like Lon Chaney could sit through all those hours of this kind of weird makeup for Pumpkinhead and still give off just a fantastic performance. Second question, if Pumpkinhead was summoned in Halloween Night in Haddonfield and crossed paths with Michael Myers, who do you think would win? I might give it to Pumpkinhead, like I said. Michael is pretty powerful, but I think Pumpkinhead could probably tear him open or something. Third question, what would Pumpkinhead think of Alucard from Hellsing? Do you think they'd get along? Oh god, no, there is no way they would get along at all. So yeah, that looks like those are all the questions. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions, and once again, if I did not answer someone's question, that means it was either marked as spam or didn't show up at all on the list, so I do apologize for that. But thank you. But this was really good. This was a good turnout. I was actually expecting a lot less questions, so I'm really glad there was some questions that come out of this. So once again, thank you guys so much, and hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.